Before I became homeless, I was married. I had a pretty normal life. I had a good job. Lived in a nice home. I have a degree in marketing. I used to work 3 jobs to put myself through university. I've always worked quite hard and I've always been employed. With my husband, the relationship we just weren't communicating. It had broken down to the point where it was just difficult living in the home with him. I didn't want to leave my family home. I didn't want Kaitlyn to leave the home that she'd grown up in, but that's the only choice I had. I decided to go and live with my father because he had 2 months left to live, and I just wanted to spend some time with family and be with him and help him. I had to leave my job to be able to go and care for him, and I was scared because I was losing everything that I had. I was scared because I didn't know what the future would hold once my father had passed away. Well, after Dad died, I was actually diagnosed with thyroid cancer. And the only place I had to go was to live with a friend. So Kaitlyn and I moved there for a little while, but that became too difficult because I thought that I'd be able to get a job because I'd always been employed, never had a problem with work, but I wasn't able to get a job, and the longer we stayed there, the more difficult that situation became as well because my friend she didn't want us there. She was becoming aggressive with Kaitlyn. So we had to leave, and the only place I had to go was to live in the car. We lived by a beach, and because we didn't have an address, I had to homeschool Kaitlyn from the car. We'd eat in there and sleep in there, and we'd have to have showers in the public bathrooms at the beach. We'd have to do it early in the morning before anybody turned up because I didn't want anybody to realise that we were living out of our car. We'd brush our teeth in there, we'd use the bathroom in there, but it was degrading having to do that and trying to make it normal for Kaitlyn. I went to the authorities and I told them that we were homeless, but I was told that there would be an 8-week wait. I'd have to be homeless for 8 weeks before they could help me to find a home. The 8 weeks were the hardest days of my life because I was dealing with my cancer and I was dealing with the grief, the loss of my home, loss of my job. My father had passed away, and I was dealing with all this from the back of my car. I felt really alone. After 8 weeks, the authorities referred me to a lady called Grace at Wesley Mission, and that's when things improved for me, almost immediately. Grace was like a godsend. She saw how dire my situation was. She was the only person who listened to me. She's the only person who took my situation seriously. So she found Kaitlyn and I housing. She put a roof over our head. And then I could send Kaitlyn to school again because I had an address. And it brought safety back into our lives because we had somewhere to live and somewhere to call home. Kaitlyn and I are so happy now that we're in our own home, and she's thriving at school. She's really happy and she's made friends. I still haven't found a full-time job, but I'm not giving up hope on that. I've started to work for a local cafe, doing some marketing work for them, and life's really good. It's normal again.